Good morning. I expected to be the first speaker and talk about exams or make an introduction to exams. As I was at the presidential guest lectures and they started late, I was late, and so you have heard everything about exams already. I certainly cannot do it better. So maybe, what should I say now?
Could you tell us about the role of ICO, what ICO does to help ophthalmologists?
What ICO does? I just had a talk on what can ICO do for Indian ophthalmologists, yes. Let's say for a younger Indian ophthalmologist. And one thing is
There's a better mic here.
One thing is, yes, much better. One thing is, of course, the exams, standardization and demonstration of your knowledge is worthwhile because the founders of this examination believed if you do not have to pass an examination, you will not learn anything. And I think, being quite old now, it's true. And I see it in my daughter, who is an ophthalmology resident too. They, in Cologne, in Germany, and they force their residents to pass the ICO examinations. They don't force, but they push, let's say. I will introduce this in my department too. Until now, I thought in Europe we have very old. We have 200 years of ophthalmology too, modern ophthalmology, and we think we have an education system which is old and we don't need this ICO stuff, but it's not true. I mean, the ICO exams are worldwide standard in my opinion, and if you pass them, you show what you know. Maybe I should talk about some other things and you interrupt me then.
No, go ahead.
The chance when you pass the exams is that you can get a fellowship. And we have our fellowship coordinator, Cordula Gabel-Obermeier here. I had a very beautiful picture of you in my other talk with an Indian scarf dress. Tournament. Yes, fellowships. It's especially open for, we have many different fellowships, and the newest fellowship just announced in this other lecture is a one-year fellowship at the National Eye Institute in Ophthalmic Genetics. And as you hear it first, you could be the one who apply for this fellowship. Of course, it's a very special one because it's at the National Eye Institute. It's 1 year. But the regular fellowships are 3 months fellowships. And what I could say about India here is that we had in the last 10 years about 230 fellows from India going to one of our 135 hospitals abroad and experiencing foreign ophthalmology. And I can say from the fellows I had, let's say 10 years ago, I see one sitting here even. 10 years ago, the fellows came and said, well, you very interesting instruments and so on. Now they come and say, oh, you are working with this stuff. We have even better sometimes. But they still learn something in a foreign country. So it's still good to go to another place. And even if you know better, and sometimes I have the impression if they have passed the advanced exam, you know, they know better than many of our residents, they still can learn something and they can see differences and can learn from the differences. But the other thing for India is, of course, that they are not only sending fellows abroad, but they are taking fellows, and India has taken 130, I guess, fellows from other countries. So in a way, India has made the transition from only sending out to foreign countries to now taking a lot of foreign fellows, ICO fellows, outside the fellows who come themselves and pay for their stay themselves. But these are people, I think, the first email this year I get a lot of emails since I am a president of the ICO because it's worldwide, and when I'm sleeping, other people are awake and sending emails. So the first email this year was from a fellow from Nigeria who had passed a 3-month stay in India and was very pleased about his stay and learned a lot and can use it now in Africa. Yeah. So this, I think I should conclude with this sentence, or with the invitation to come to the WOC in Africa next year, because it's a historic event. It's the first time that this World Congress is in Africa. Secondly, it's the year of Vision 2020, and Vision 2020 is the right to sight, and this is what we are all about to do, and especially the Indian society, of course, is helping us a lot to move forward so that we have no avoidable vision loss anywhere in the world. I think that what India could do there is to show the world that you make modern medicine affordable to everybody. And this is something that what I think is very special about India. And of course, I know that you would want a WOC in India, and for that you have to see other WOCs, and then it will come to India. Thank you very much.
I think what we were going to do at this point is to have to hear from Cordula and about the fellowship, but we are lucky enough to have one of our fellows. He's a fellow from Yemen who is training in Nagpur in cataract surgery, and he was telling us how few ophthalmologists there are in Yemen. So for him to have been given an ICO fellowship to come and train here, and of course when it's safe to go back to Yemen, he'll go back to Yemen. I'd like you to come up and shake your hand. Fadi Mukret from Yemen. Want to take a picture with you? You just take a picture.
There are other fellows here. I have one fellow of mine,
Oh,
which
you got it.
who is I met here. You know,
Oh, right.
he met me. He is
Do you want to come up as well? See, one of the reasons why we find ourselves so privileged that the clinicians are heavily involved in our activities is because we are led by clinicians who are actually in touch with what the needs of the people are, and as Peter showed, the needs of ophthalmologists worldwide. I just thought if you stay for a minute, see if anybody has any questions before you step on the stage.
Tell us your impressions of the organizational aspect of the AIOC.
here. Well, this is not my first time in India, but it's my first time at the AIOS. I am an honorary fellow now, and so this is one of my societies. I feel I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed of the program. I mean, I have it here. No, I don't have it. No, they took it from me. But, you know, there's one side, this thing here, I'm very impressed. I mean, all these sessions, this is my program, yeah. Because I have it only for this day.
It is from your seat, actually.
Okay. And I see what you combine new research and clinical developments, and how you can use it for everyday practice, and this impresses me. For the opening session, I think for me it was a little bit long, I tell you honestly.
They also feel the same. Actually, when I was going around, I was walking with Peter yesterday, and every time he came across either the board, he couldn't help saying, we must have this in walk, we must have this in walk. A lot of things that he saw, particularly the board that you have, which summarizes all the programs, as you come out at the end. That's where we had our pictures taken. But every time Peter saw one of these things, he said, oh, we must have this involved.
I think what impressed me most is that the enormous wish to show that you make it better every year and that you make so much progress in organization and knowledge. And for example, if I hear that now the topic is every fellow one paper a year, I mean, my goodness, who should this will move you forward, yeah. I enjoy, and it's of course you always well, you have the real high tech here, and you have things which are not so high tech, and this is what impresses me too. Yeah, how you combine this and pull everything forward. I mean, to really get no avoidable vision loss, I think you need the engagement of all ophthalmologists, and this needs a lot of commitment of the leadership of the AIOS.